I've already marked this corner here. This is actually more than what is proud past the handle, but I want to leave it so I can shape around it, and I'm going to grind a little bit more off than what's there. That's a little sharp anyway. Also, I have the handle for the other spatula. What I'm going to do now is measure the thickness with the blade and the handles together so I can cut the pins, or grind the pins actually. You can see there that that's barely proud on that. Okay, now that I've got the blade put back in, $737 thousandths. And this one is 427 thousandths. Doing math, 1/8 of an inch is 125 thousandths, or actually I just know that. 12.5 times 8 is 100. So that would be a 16th on either side. So I'm going to need 0.862 and 0.552 roughly on the length of the pins, plus my spares, whatever I cut them at. I'm going to cut this one before I mark the next one. I've learned in the past that marking before cutting, you end up losing the width of whatever you're cutting with. And while this isn't much, that's still probably at least a 32nd of an inch, if not more. Look at that, made in the USA on those channel lock end cuts. Gotta love that. Well, that went flying, but let's mark this and go find it in a bit. Well, here I've been talking to myself. I managed to cut one and send it flying, so I didn't get it. This one, I'm going to have to ream out the hole a little bit to get it to fit. I got the 2 cut for the spatula handle. Need to still cut a couple extras for practice. I'm going to do these shorter since I already sent one flying. Don't want to waste too much of the rod, or the pin, excuse me, it's not rod. Let me go get that, I saw where it went. Okay, I'm going to actually look for the one that, oh, I just found the one that went flying. So it looks like I've got a couple extras. I'm going to get out the drill and open up this center hole. It's hitting on the handle, the wood. So I just need to open that up a little bit, and I'll be right back with the drill. This drill motor really stinks. but it still gets the job done. I guess that's what's important. Okay, there we have our pins. Gonna mark them a little closer so I can grind them. I'm gonna have to probably get some pliers, but let's get on to the next step, which I believe is getting the pliers and heading into the grinder, or well, actually putting tools away. I figured while I had this handle out, I might as well mark what the next one is. You can see that it's wider than the 3/4 inch thickness on the wood. So I'm going to, I think, clamp it and see about marking around it right about there. Okay, we got that clamped, and I don't want to hear all the comments about having it on the clamps on the raw wood without something between it. I'm aware that that's how I should have it, but I don't. Okay, that, I don't know if it's visible, but there is a pencil line there. For now, I'm not going to worry about marking for the thickness. I want to get it cut first, and then I'll worry about getting the thickness. Now I'm going to find some pliers, and I think go in and mark these pins a little better, and then go in and grind a little bit of metal. While I could do these with a file, with my makeshift bench here, I think I'll be better off going and borrowing the grinder. So I'm going to do that right after I put away some tools. I think I'm actually going to use some vice grips for this. I don't want to squeeze that brass too hard, but I do want to hold it securely. So let's start up the grinder. Last one just bent because I was trying to take too much off. I've got another one that I need to take more off. I've only been doing one end because they are getting hot doing this, but I'm going to go grab the end cuts and cut that other one back. Just a little irony for you. I forgot to push the button again. I actually thought that this would be the easy part of it, but with how soft the brass is, I did manage to bend one, so I had to cut the others so I didn't have to take too much of the time. Now I'm going to just take this little bit off the tip of that, just because I don't like it being quite so sharp, and I might actually take this one down a little bit as well. But since I wasn't recording on the last one, back to Mr. Strasser at Martin Murphy Middle School back in the day, he said you never want to turn on a grinding wheel standing in front of it because they, I guess, can come apart. So we're going to pay attention to Mr. Strasser. The irony here, exhausted more batteries. So I have no idea what everybody got. I'll have to get into that on the editing. I just was walking to get the batteries and saw these two twigs and said, those look just like my pins, and they're not much different in diameter. Color's not quite the same, but anyway, I did get the points taken off that handle. I did get the pins ground the ends so they were cleaner instead of the cut. This was the one I bent, and this was the one that I cut off because I'd cut the others too much. Those are the twigs. I'm gonna put tools away and head back out, and I think this will be it. Thanks everyone. If you like, thumbs up, subscribe, and please feel free to share. Well, we're back out here at my bench. Being back out in the daylight, you'll notice even though I was trying to avoid it, I did get some scoring from the vice grips. I don't know how I could avoid it as soft as brass is, but I did get it. We'll have to see what I have to do to make that work. I am going to put these in a Ziploc so I don't lose them. Even my mistakes, and I think I'll just leave that one out, that twig. Again, back out in the sunlight, I can feel a burr here. This is pretty good, but I want to take this little burr off, and I think I'm going to do that real quick with this file. Okay, I did get the burr off. The grinder wasn't set up for 90 degrees. This will get filed after I put the blade back on. This is a half round file. I will be going over all these edges so it will smooth everything out. But I did want to get that burr off the side there. I guess it really makes a difference being in the shop. I really couldn't see even with the lights on and the sun coming through the window. But there are the pins, 3 for the knife, a practice, couple, 3 actually for the spatula, and then the little shorty that I cut off. I'll recycle that. It is brass. This morning, went over to my mom's and helped her do some peaches. Her tree, she gave it to a friend of hers because she can't see any longer, but she did keep some, and so we did them this morning.
Fancy kitchen.
Have a peach of a day.